Hey guys, so I am back with another roster review. This time around, it's with a viewer who recently came back to the game after quitting back in the Arcana era of things, and he's now maining Breaker that he recently pushed up with Makoko Express. And he is wondering what he should do with his account and how to progress it, especially because his Breaker actually doesn't have that many resources because it's a brand new character. So I worked with him to create kind of a step-by-step process on what to do with his account and how to progress it even though he doesn't have all that many materials on his characters, and also giving him some general advice and direction on what to do with his roster. If you guys are interested in this type of one-on-one session, please, as always, it is something that anybody can do on my stream. As long as you watch my stream for a little bit to gain the channel points, you can redeem a roster review, and I'm happy to go through a one-on-one kind of account checkup in many ways, or just anything you want to do with your roster and talk about it on my stream. So you can go and head to my stream, twitch.tv/misoexshrew, to get started on watching, so you can soon get a roster review of your own. But until then, hopefully you guys enjoy this roster review. All right, guys, peace. I guess the way I start off with all these roster reviews is what did you want from this roster review? Like, what did you want to learn or need help with? Well, what's popping?
In simple terms, direction.
Okay, so just like direction for your account and generate your roster. Yeah. Got it.
I'm a returner. I quit for quite a long time. Then came back. I quit when Arcana kind of first came out. Did a few Arcanas and then quit after that.
Came back to shit game.
Yeah, and just came back and
okay,
really behind, as you can see.
No, you're good. I guess let's hop into your character then. Your main character. Is your Breaker your main right now?
At the moment, yes.
Got it.
That is also something I will ask down the line. But yeah, for now, Breaker is my main.
Okay, cool. I guess do you want to push your Breaker up to like 1620? Like, is your what are your kind of goals for what you want to do in the game?
Well, since I lost my previous static, I just recently joined a new one, and this static, the people are little behind in item level.
Okay.
And since I left after Arcana kind of came out, I don't know the new raids either. And so that's why I joined the rather new static party, and that is also creating a dilemma for me. Like, should I try to push my main to, say, for example, 1630 and transfer into 1640, or should I kind of parallel hone? But I don't think that's very advised by anyone. Most people do say that you should just focus on one character.
Yeah, in general, right now, focusing on one main and pushing up one main is kind of the best way to go in terms of economy. And are you on NA East or NA West, by the way?
West.
Okay, got it. Here's kind of my thoughts about that. About like whether or not you push to 1620, 1630, whatever it may be. So we have tier 4 coming out in about a month.
Yes.
And with that, you're going to get a free ride to 1640 from 1620. Realistically, thinking about where you are at right now in terms of your character, 1615, how much gold you have, how many shards you have, I actually don't think it makes much sense at all to try to push 1630, because it means that you're going to have to buy a lot of materials. You're going to buy shards. You're going to buy all the materials to push yourself up when it's coming so soon, and you're going to get a free ride to 1640. I think what makes sense, in my opinion, is, if your goal is to get to 1620 and get your main up and one character up, try to push your character up to 1620, at least your main. And then from there, you can start doing Kidna, start getting materials for advanced honing. And, let's take a look at what your kind of economy looks like, how much money you have at that time. And then if you think you have enough money to do some advanced honing, feel free to do some advanced honing, right? Because advanced honing is going to be something that is on top of your item level. It's not going to get removed by tier 4. Like, for example, if you tried to hone to 1630 normally, that stuff is going to be, I mean, it's not necessarily removed, but like it's going to be a lot more expensive. Because like later on, it's going to be, especially with the amount of shards you have right now, you're probably going to just try to get tier 4 shards and hone that way. Because right now, if you want to hone, you're going to need to buy shards. So it doesn't really make sense that way. So if anything, if you wanted to push this character, 1620 is going to be the way that you're going to go. And then I don't advise pushing anything past that. And then, like you said, your static's a little bit lower item level. So, if you wanted to, like, it looks like you have some alts that are around 1600 as well, right? I think your Soul Eater's like 1590 something, right?
Well, for example, this one still doesn't have its full account pieces. And it's at 1597. I think I have everything. So its weapon is not Arcana yet.
So when you get a con, it's probably gonna be
plus
1600 pretty
23
much.
Brel. I think on this character my weapon is plus 23 Brel.
Yeah.
So this character is pretty much guaranteed for 1600. My Soul Eater, on the other hand, needs quite a bit of honing. But you mind if I get on my Arcana first?
Yeah, go ahead. Yo, what's up, April? Day's going well.
When it comes
Day's going
to,
well. How are you doing?
Red and blue stones, I'm quite lacking, not gonna lie, to be completely honest, because I haven't played in such a long time. But because tier 3 has been out for such a long time, when it comes to shards on these a bit older characters, I'm doing quite okay.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because, like you said, tier 3's been out for a little bit. You're probably playing a good bit. So these characters have a lot more shards.
Yeah.
And a lot more materials on them. Yeah. Yeah, you have some good resources on this character for sure. It's definitely not enough to push you to 1610, 1600, 1620, but if you wanted to go to 1600,
probably doable.
If you get lucky, if you're lucky.
So this is already 1605. So when I transfer this to a con, it probably becomes 1610.
Yeah, no, so you're probably gonna be about 1600 or so when you transfer that to a con.
Yeah,
and you can hone it a couple levels, and it won't be that bad.
Yeah, it's like if I transfer this one, I get a plus 12. I can get that one to plus 15. So getting this character realistically to 1610 is probably not.
It's not going to be the worst. It's still going to be expensive, like gold wise. Like gold wise is going to be expensive, and I think leaps you maybe have enough to do it, but definitely on like bound guardians probably not. But like getting this character to 1610 isn't going to be the worst thing. It's just mostly I'd say the gold that's kind of holding you back at the moment.
Yep. And I honestly don't know how to go about gold. Like the changes with solo mode has gave me hope, to be completely honest.
Yeah, so I mean, the solo mode, like, I don't know what you're doing. Like, what are you doing for your raids right now? Are you doing mostly solo? Are you doing group raids? How is it working?
I'm doing a mix of both. So my static, when they want to run group raid, I do it with them. Otherwise, I'm just trying to get as much solo raid done as possible.
Got it.
For example, on Sunday, I believe I have a con that they're gonna run. I don't. Depending on how that run goes, we probably do a second account. But my static at the moment, I think that is the extent of the most that they can do. Most of them have like at most 2 account ready characters. and they're still learning Arcana. Well, we learned last week for the first time. Well, they did, but yeah, that's how it's been so long. But the other problem, and this is kind of more of a me problem rather than anything else, is I'm very nervous, and so I don't pug.
Mm-hmm.
That mostly comes from me playing Arcana, because there's been way too many times where I get bad card RNG and I just don't do damage, and that kind of weighs on me. And it ended up happening so that I just don't puck now anymore.
Are you just afraid of like getting flamed by people, or like, because I'd say like in terms of damage, right? People, you don't usually flame people that much for like damage. It's like when they start messing up mechs, when they start like, you know, dying a lot. That's kind of when people flame, like start
So it's
flaming
more of a
people.
chain reaction. I start doing trash ZDPS damage, and that kind of makes me panic, and which makes me sometimes mess up mechanics. So it's like a chain reaction that happens.
Here's the thing, right? Because what I was saying is, it's totally fine if you want to just continue to do solo raids, but at the end of the day, the solo raids are going to give you a lot less gold, and that's the truth.
It
Like,
definitely does, yeah.
have you ever thought about like trying to do like lower level raids, kind of like Brel and things like that, just to get your confidence up a little bit more and just like getting more? It's like, it's a couple things, right? It's about like getting comfortable with the class, because Arcana at the end of the day is a very hard class to play, so I can totally see it being something that's difficult. Have you tried like doing some lower tiered raids just to get comfortable, or even like not even just on your Arcana, maybe trying a little bit more group raids on a less stressful character like a Breaker, or your Soul Eater, just to kind of get yourself comfortable and making sure that you're okay with doing like a little bit more okay with doing the raids? Because at the end of the day, I don't know, do you like, if your goal and you're okay with just doing solo raids for the most part forever, then sure, you don't have to do that, right? I think.
No, I'm okay with doing it for now. I'm not. I'm definitely not okay with doing it forever. I joined Lost Ark for two reasons: combat and raids. So I do want to play with other people. It's just playing with random other people has kind of become a bit of a awkward situation for me. And like I remember saying it like maybe week or two ago in your stream. I felt like, so I had another account in NA East, and it kind of feels like the toxicity, so to speak, quote unquote, is a bit more in NA West than in NA East, is what I felt.
Interesting.
People are a lot more impatient in NA West. What I
Got
gather.
it, got it. I mean,
I
I
don't know.
personally have had the same experience in both, but you know, each person has different experience, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, if anything, what you could do, right, is join like some streamer runs, if anything, because like in general, I'd say for the most part, when you're joining, like, you know, let's say even like I'm doing like an Icon or something, you can hop in, help out, things like that. Like, people are generally a little bit more lenient there too.
Right.
And more understanding. Like, of course, it's like at the end of the day, when you join a pug, right, it's just like everybody you don't know, nobody cares, you know, how you feel and things like that, which,
Yeah.
yeah, it's understandable how you can feel a lot of anxiety. So maybe it's kind of like working up towards it, like, you know, starting to do more raids with other people that you don't know, but it's like people that are kind of in the community, like joining, like, you know, a raid when I'm doing it, or like if you go to another streamer's raids when they're doing their raids, trying to run with them. I think that could be like a more comfortable stepping stone for you to start doing these group raids, because like you said, right, if at the end of the day you wanted to just do solo raids and is fine with that, sure, go ahead.
Nah.
But it seems like you do want to do group raids.
Yes.
So at like trying to find some ways to kind of like slowly inch yourself into like group raids in a more, or like in a less stressful environment and a more understanding environment, that sounds like a good way to kind of do it.
Yeah, definitely. I think that actually does sound like a good idea. I tried
Yeah.
getting to a few learning runs from the Discord. You know, the Makoka's
Yeah.
Discord. The timings usually don't match up. I'm EST, and most people are
PS.
AEST.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that play on like out of like OCE, so like Australia, New
Oceanic and
Zealand.
Australian.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Typically, people on NA West, like people on NA East, are probably playing in NA East, and then
Yeah,
people who
EST
on
or CS2.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That the time is not working out very well. So yeah, again, maybe trying to join out some streamer runs. Maybe it's like a run that I'm doing. Do you need any raids today? Like what raids do you have available?
Everything. I think other than I did a kind on this, but other than that, everything is available.
Is there a specific raid you wanted to try to run?
I can't.
A con?
I wanna get more comfortable with a Khan, but I would not join a hard account because I still have to learn the last gate.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to grief people.
Okay.
But normal account I do want to get more comfortable with.
Yeah, we can run a normal con after this. That's totally fine.
Yeah, I'm totally down.
Yeah, I think that like just getting more experience, running more group raids, being more comfortable in a situation where people aren't going to be like flaming you. That's kind of like the best way to kind of start getting a little more comfortable doing raids. And if anybody like my community luckily is a pretty nice community, so we'll try to get a group together that kind of is going to be more understanding. And again, I think you're going to be fine. I always think you're going to be fine. Don't worry about it. I think it's just it's a game at the end of the day, right? No real point in stressing out over it. Like just it'll be fun. It'll be a good time. Yosefek. Okay, so that's that.
I do like the community in your stream. I do like the community in your streams.
Good. I'm glad. So that's raids, but raids isn't the only way you're going to be making gold. Are you doing your life skills? So you're doing excavation right now. That's kind of your main life skill.
Yeah.
And when you're doing excavating,
I do want to get this one to 30, so that's what I've been working on recently. Because one day I looked and I realized I have
26 platinum fields. Yeah, that's quite a bit.
Yeah. So I want to get those out of the way, and from what I gather, foraging is the best way to make money off of platinum field. So I do want to get that up.
Oh my god, taco. Yeah, and what are you doing with your life skill materials after you're done harvesting, like done excavating?
Usually prime oreha.
Prime orehas?
Yeah, but most of the ones I made, I had to dump it on this guy. This guy has made my life hell.
Just holding has been tough on that guy.
Oh god. I've fucking pitted my weapon twice from 16 to 19, like 16 to 17.
Oh god, that's
19.
terrible.
Yeah.
That is actually terrible. I'm sorry. Yeah, that can definitely take a lot out of your your economy, your bankroll.
All my shards are gone on a
shot.
That was horrendous.
Are you doing like your chaos gates and everything to get like shards and like or all that stuff?
Yeah.
Got it. And it's just eating them all up.
I very recently started doing chaos gates. I've never done chaos gates. I only did
I see. Yeah, chaos gates is a good source of shards, which is also a good source of money. And here's something that I would say as well, so, especially because right now, right, your breaker, I don't know. Personally, I don't really recommend buying shards with gold. If anything, if you're gonna get shards, I usually say either buy shards with like money, real money in the silvery honor packs, or just don't buy them at all and just wait and use event shops and stuff like that.
500 blue emerald crystal one, right? There's a 500. This one.
Yeah, that one. Yeah. If anything, that's probably the more worth it option. Like the one in like the even the market is just not very good. So unless you're gonna do that, like I don't think you're gonna be holding your breaker much for a while.
For quite some time.
Yeah, unless you're holding up your alts right now, then sure. And then
I did a little bit. So this one was 1589. I had 80 of the Khan thing eyes, and instead of waiting for 100 to get the weapon, I just bought 2 ammo piece and got them to plus 15. I
Yeah.
also did a little honing on this character. She was like 1590, got it to 1593. I was getting frustrated on my breaker, so I was like, and ran out of shards, which frustrated me even more. So I got on these characters and just did a small taps here and there.
Yeah, and you're buying out your shards and stuff from like a solo raid shop too, right?
Yes.
Okay, got it. So, what I was thinking is like, if your goal is to hone your breaker, then at the moment it just doesn't really, you can't really buy like, oh, I'm talking about the solo raid shop, not these ones. Yeah. Okay.
But just saying, these have been dried up a long time ago.
Yeah, it's like if your breaker is your main kind of goal to get to like 1620, at the moment you're probably not going to be honing it much. Like it might make sense to like start trying to build up an economy using like, rather than using them on your breaker right now, since you can't actually use your trade skills on breaker like for the Orejas, trying to use your trade skills for money, because it's quite a bit of money if you're doing it regularly. And sometimes it's worth it to use your life skills to convert into orejas and sell them, and sometimes it's not. There's a website that I use that helps calculate whether it's worth it to craft them and turn them into orejas and sell them, or if it's just better to sell the raw materials.
So
all the LA tools, right? Yeah, so using that, trying to figure out like, is it worth it to sell the mats? Is it worth it to sell the orejas? Is going to be another way to start kind of like making, continue to build your, economics. Another way that people have kind of done in the past is like, and this still works, is kind of flipping things on the market. Well, not like flipping like buying something, saving it, and then whatever. Some people, and you could try to see if this works for you. Some people like doing this because every day there's a chaos gate. Whenever the chaos gate happens, a lot of times people do the chaos gate and start selling their shards immediately. So that's when the shards go down. You can buy the shards then and just wait like 20-30 minutes, and the shards usually go back up. You don't have to like immediately try to do it and like throw money into it and then wait and then sell it. You can like observe, is that still happening right now? And then
it is still happening. I know that for a fact because when I did Chaos Gate earlier today, I think it was like so I noticed it 3 or 4 days ago. Honor shards were going for 352 or 353 gold. Chaos Gate happened, it dropped down to 330 gold.
Yeah, so it's not like a ton of money at like once. Like it's not going to be like a big like, oh my gosh, I'm earning like hundreds of thousands at once. But like it's gonna be a steady income.
Dreaming of hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, it's gonna be something, right? It's a lot of times it's not about like the at once getting 100,000 gold. It's about like getting 100 gold here, 1,000 gold here, and like using that to kind of grow your income. So another way to start trying to make money to help you hone your characters.
For sure.
Cool. In terms of making money, I think those are kind of my tips. Is there, what else did you want to ask or need help with?
Direction towards gems, because right now it's ass.
I mean, at the end of the day,
they are all using welfare gems.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that my characters struggle with as well. But I mean, at the end of the day, gems, it's you get as many gems as you do chaos dungeon and cubes is kind of what it is.
I have been hoarding cubes. I've not done anything since I came back, so they're not that much. But I've not been doing cubes. Is what
I mean, here's the thing, right? People are recommending people hold cubes until tier 4, so that way you can start getting EXP faster. But
am I really at a stage where I should be thinking about that?
So for my advice for you, right? In reality, you're probably only going to get one character to tier 4 at the beginning. And then later, and like by the time it comes out, I'm saying later on, you'll probably get more.
Yeah.
But when it comes out, you're probably only going to be getting one character up. And by the time you're getting more characters up, you're actually probably going to have access to training room at that point, and try and be able to use training room to push more characters up and level them up more. So those cubes that you'd been hoarding on like your alt characters, for example, probably going to start going, not to waste, but like the effectiveness of those cubes is going to be lower. So if anything, I would say if you're looking for gems and really worrying about that, start running some cubes on some of your alts. Like maybe for your main, right? The character you plan to push to tier 4, save those cubes, use them later. But for the other characters, I think it totally makes sense to start running some cubes on them and getting some more gems off of that. But also, right now, it looks like you're also kind of starved for silver as well. I don't know if you're how much time you spend in this game, but with the new Chaos Dungeon update, even just doing one Chaos Dungeon per week on all of your on your other characters is gonna be giving you quite a bit of silver, because the first chest gives you a lot.
Do rested chaos. D6, they do rested chaos.
Yeah. Well,
this one does unrested.
Have you thought about doing more chaos in some other characters beyond your 6?
What, like these?
Yeah. Because they have free 5x3s. They have, free gems at this point, and you can run them there.
Built.
Oh, they're all built?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, if you have the time, you could run maybe an extra character, an extra 2 characters, whatever it might be. It might not even, you don't even have to run them every day, right? You don't have to run them every day. You can run them rested, you can run them once a week, whatever it might be. Any extra chaos dungeon is just going to be giving you more silver and like more gems, especially again with the current update, with the changes to the silver chest. Those chests give you so many silvers. Like,
gotcha.
Was one chest give you a ton, and again, it'll help you with both gems and it'll help you with both silvers. Again, it's only if you're willing to spend the time on it, right? Like for me, I'm lazy. I don't play, like I don't like doing all this stuff on my alt, so I'm not going to do it. But like, it's just something if you're willing to do it and / want to do it. It's a way for you to get more gems, a way for you to get more silver, because like you said, gems are really hard to get. And the best ways to get them is just chaos and cubes.
Right. I probably could. If it's rested, I probably can. I just have to figure out a system where I divide the characters in a way where I do something like 3 characters a day.
Yeah, and again, it doesn't even have to be like a 3 per day type of situation. Like you could just run those alts once a week, like one day. Like maybe it's like instead of for like your off day or something, right? Maybe one character or something. I don't know. It's just like any, like right now, chaos dungeons doing just like a little bit will go get you a long way.
Gotcha. Other than my breaker, my soul eater, and my main arcana, I do low pang on all of them. Yes.
I mean, I would say that instead of doing low pang, maybe run like the low pangs give you so little. They give you like 20k per character.
At this point, yeah.
It's 20k per character, and then at the end of the day, if you're running like 6 characters or something like that, low paying 6, 7, 8 characters, that's a good like 20 minutes of your time, which one chaos dungeon will probably give you more than that and take way less time.
Right? Now that you say that, yeah, that is very true.
Yeah, so I think at the moment, low pangs are probably not the way to go for silver. If anything, if you're not running chaos on some of your alts, it makes sense to run like, instead of doing low pangs, just run a chaos or 2.
Right.
Because I think one chaos is probably going to give you like one set of like chaoses, like 2 chaoses, right? Is going to give you more than like 7, 8, 9 characters worth of low pangs at this point.
Yeah.
And it's way faster, way faster.
Right. So, sorry, off-topic question. For gems, I should be focusing on this one, no?
On your Arcana?
Mm-hmm.
I guess what is your
what characters taken care of?
Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing, right? And here's a little interesting place that we're going to be at. So with Arcana, like with using multiple characters, when tier 4 comes, if you end up deciding to move your character into tier 4 and start getting tier 4 gems, you can't actually use those tier 4 gems with your tier 3 characters. It doesn't go back. So if you're planning to do that, if you're planning to take an Arcana tier 4, for example, you either A, don't convert your gems into tier 4, and then you can continue sharing the gems, or B, you try to move them all up to tier 4 around the same time. That's kind of like the two options you have there. Or C, you can have two sets of gems at that point. One tier 3 set and one tier 4 set.
The second one is probably the more likely scenario, to be completely honest, because these 4 characters, I know this one looks like it's a bit more ahead because this was my main Arcana for the longest time, so I honed its weapon to the max I could at that time. But they have always moved together. When I went to 1580, all 4 of them went to 1580 together. It's kind of the same with these 2 bards that I used to play that I don't anymore because I hate support. I'm a DPS goblin. You can see my classes, you know. So even though it is extremely inefficient, the second scenario is the most likely scenario that's going to happen.
I see.
All 4 of these Arcanas together is probably what's going to happen.
And also, what are your gems right now?
I told you, they're all welfare.
They're all welfare. So there's, are they 7s right now on your Arcana, or are they 7s and 8s?
No, 7s. Only
7s. Only 7s. Okay. And then on your Breaker, it's event gems, right? 7s and 8s.
Yes. Breaker and Soul Eater. And my Slayer, but Slayer's out of the main roster at the moment, so.
And is your Breaker a Sura Breaker, or is it a BK? Okay. Got it. If anything, if you want to work on gems, rather than working on like moving up all your gems at once, there's probably gems that probably will give you a lot more bang for your buck on your characters. So, for example, trying to get a higher level Asura gem is going to give you a good bang for your buck. And for your Arcana, I think Heck's saying how there's
Call
like
Destiny, yes.
Yeah, a couple gems there that makes sense.
Call of Destiny is it's huge. I've played with level 9 Call of Destiny back in the day, and I can quite literally physically feel the difference of running a level 7 now. The rotation becomes extremely inefficient.
Yeah.
And so it gets a lot harder to get it rolling.
So if anything, like maybe it's like trying to get some of those important gems that will make your characters feel better on each of the characters and kind of like splitting it between some of those characters. Like for example, like you said, maybe it's Call of Destiny, right, on Arcana, trying to get a level 9 cooldown or something on that one, and then like you know, whatever the minimum requirements there, and then moving after doing that, just leave the rest of the gems as is, then moving on to another character. And also when you think about it this way as well, like later on when you're trying to get into groups for your characters, they will take a look at your gems and gatekeep off of that. So like if you're doing a later raid, like you know, Thaymine, Hard, Thaymine, whatever, you might want to throw
Thaymine normal people are probably going to be gatekeeping it.
Yeah, for sure. It might be like for Sura Breaker, I think you're totally fine with having a level 9 or a level, you know, if you're not a level 10, maybe a level 9 on your Sura, and then keeping the rest of the gems on event gems, and then you'd probably look a lot better than if you had like all event gems on that one, for example. It's like trying to think about like which what is it called? Which gems are the most important and will get you the most bang for your buck. Yo, Comedy Zone, thanks for the fall. Appreciate it.
Well, I definitely want to get that out of the way. Because so since I finally completely ran out of shards on my Breaker, so that's when I stopped to think, how exactly am I supposed to move forward with this roster? And yeah, that the question of gem came with that as well.
Yeah, and also, are you doing the Indigo Island?
I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I did it once. I did the solo dungeon thing, and it came out. And
so you just do that. Daily dungeon? Yeah, it's a daily dungeon, and then once you just keep doing, you just do that day after day, and then you get enough material, get enough of the currency, and then buy out the shop. It's a one-time shop too. It's not going to refresh. So I'd recommend going and do that if you're low on materials, because that does give a good bit of materials when you do it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I did the dungeon once yesterday, I think.
Yeah, you just do it until you clear out the shop, basically.
Yeah, at the shop. Got it.
Yeah, it's another good source of materials. It's pretty juiced.
I've also been beating myself up over if I should be doing the Guardians on these not so main roster 1580s and that, and I just don't know.
I mean, if you have time and you want to do it, do it. Like, personally, for me,
Getting in a lobby with the 1580 DPS is extremely hard.
yeah, for sure.
Even it's actually starting to get hard to get as a support as well, because people are getting 1680s, 1600s like candies these days. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you have time to do it, do it. If you don't have time, just dispatch some of them, unless you're using your boats for other things. But yeah, that also works. If you want to be efficient, so that way you're not kind of wasting away the energy, I guess, whatever you call it, the entries. Right. That's something you can do. But
now I'm just been doing them rested.
Yeah, and that's totally fine.
Pretty much my whole roster is like doing everything rested, to be honest.
Yeah, that's totally fine. I think doing it rested and doing it on more characters is probably better than doing unrested on less characters. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just whether you want to do it or not. Anything in this game is whether you want to do it or not, for real. I mean, for me, that's how I play the game. I mean, in the past couple of weeks, you might have seen my like raiding situation where most weeks I ended up with maybe 8 raids plus left undone, because I still feel like doing them all.
Yeah, 1 week ago, I would have said that's 8 raids more than what I'm doing.
But and I should start doing solo raids, honestly. Like, if there's characters that I just don't want to do raids on, and I can just go do some solo raids and get some worth out of it rather than not getting anything.
I was at a point before finding my study where I was only doing Brel for gold, and that was it, because Brel 1 to 3 was the only thing I was comfortable pugging. Brel 1 to 3 is just too brain dead.
I mean, at least it's something.
Some hard Kai's last week, pugged some hard Kai's. That was pretty okay. Didn't have any problem. Yeah.
It's mostly just a con?
Yes. Well, right now, because, this is my only character that can do Voltage, and it just got to the Voltage level, and I haven't done Voltage yet. Well, I did a solo Voltage like last week, but that's about it. Doing solo mode on Breaker is just so nice. I did a solo raid on Breaker, and then I got on my Arcana to do the same dungeon solo mode, and the experience was so different. I got tilted.
There's a lot more things to worry about on Arcana, for sure, and also Breaker's very tanky. It's a front attack class. It's just, there's a lot of things that make Breaker a pretty good solo raiding class, for sure.
Yeah, even doing it on Solida is pretty fun. I like my Solida.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about like stress levels, like Arcana is one of the most stressful classes in the game, like hands down.
Me bad, and I got 4 of them.
Yeah, like Arcana's not a bad solo raider, but it's definitely it's a more stressful one than some of the other ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, so that's actually my main question. Like, what should be my step 1, 2, 3? As like priority in terms of progression right now.
Yeah, I mean, well, as always, I always say this whenever somebody asks me kind of the steps 1 to 3. It's, at the end of the day, it depends on your goals, but also depends on what resources you have right now. I think
I want to get this roster to 1600. My main six should be 1600 is my goal at the moment.
Okay, so that's your main goal. You don't care as much about getting your character, your Breaker to 1620.
Before, as soon as it comes out, no. And even if I want to get my Breaker to 1620, I can't, because ain't no way in hell I'm buying honest shots from the marketplace.
Yeah, of course. So I mean, I think honestly, in my opinion, level 7s and welfare gems are pretty fine even at 1600. So if your goal is to get your characters to 1600, I think, yeah, for sure, that is priority number 1. Just do it. Go run your it's going to cost a lot of gold a lot of and a lot of silver. So, well, it's not like a ton of gold, but a good bit. And then silver is definitely going to cost a good bit as well. So maybe like, running some more chaos dungeon on your characters, things like that is going to be helpful.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna start doing that.
And then just pushing your characters to 1600. Again, it's if that's what you want to do, then do it. Push your characters to 1600. Keep your breaker at 1615. Continue to do chaos dungeon, continue to do guardians, raids, whatever it might be. And then when you do get the resources that you need, whether it's from naturally farming it or if it's from like doing like event shop stuff from like Indigo Island or whatever event shop comes out, then you can push it up to 1620, and then by then it'll probably be tier 4, and then it'll probably head up to 1640 pretty quickly after that. Right. But trying to do that as your step 1, since that's your goal, do it. Your number 2 probably is what I said earlier with like your gems, making sure that you at least have like the minimum required gems that you feel like you need to make the classes feel decent, especially with your Arcanas, because you have 4 of them, right? Getting one set of like good feeling gems means you're getting 4 characters that feel good or better to play. So trying to get that up and getting some cooldowns on like the most important skills. And then after that, maybe even thinking about like your breaker, for example, that could get a lot of worth out of having like even like a level 9 Sura gem. I actually wouldn't recommend people buying level 10s these days, because we're actually that so close to tier 4 that the level 10s, like in terms of value, is just not worth it. Because level 10s are still worth more than 3 level 9s. So you're going to be losing value on that once it hits tier 4. So if you're buying gems or like working on gems, like getting to level 9 is probably the most I'd recommend most people to get their gems to right now, especially because it's so close to tier 4. So there's that. There's number 2. And then
I wanted to ask, sorry.
Yeah.
Should I aim for 1600 and 1610? Because 1610 unlocks more for me than 1600.
So aiming for all your characters is 1610?
Yeah.
I mean,
if we set aside the required gold for a moment,
I mean,
which is more efficient?
At the end of the day, even 1580 is going to be more efficient than 1600, if I'm going to be honest. Like, at the end of the day, for the most part, having higher item level characters, for the most part, doesn't really pay itself off. Like,
right. What I meant was, so, you know how I said the reason I started playing Lost Ark was because of the combat and the things. So, just hypothetically, having 660-10 would mean I would at least get to experience, even if not in pug, 6 semi-normals every week.
Yeah.
And like, I really want to do semis.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, if that's what you want to do, man, go for it. Like,
no,
again,
that's why I'm asking you. If we set aside the required gold for a moment, do you think that's a viable idea or not, or do you think that's too inefficient?
From at where you're at right now, I think my recommendation, like, for most people, would just be 1600 rather than 1610.
Okay.
It's just that the 1600 to 1610 like gold sync is huge.
Got it.
It's huge. And then like also like when you get to 1610 and you start wanting to do Theamines, most people are going to want 35 set, and that's going to be another gold sync. It's just
35 set with purple elixirs.
Purple elixirs. A lot of people are going to want that.
That shit is so ass.
Yeah, it's tough. I'd say that for the most part, I'd recommend alts if you're kind of like starved for resources, which at the moment you kind of are for gold and stuff like that, like at least. And I don't know how your alts are looking for, other alts are looking for with bound materials, but I think just in general, getting to 1610.
These were looking pretty okay.
Okay. I think just like 1610, it might be a little tough, especially as you're running welfare gems too, all level 7s. I think it's going to be tough getting into a party. Like no 35 set, all level 7 gems, I think you're probably gonna get kept pretty hard. in
Apologize. I'm
normal.
looking at the chat, and a lot of people are giving very good advice. So I do want to clarify something first. When I was talking about 1610, I think, oh man, this is my problem. So, you mind if I go off topic for 1 minute?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Okay. So I majored math. So when I do math, I go step 1, then step 6. Because in my head, step 2, 3, 4, and 5 are done. When I said 1610, what I meant was get to 1600, get some gems, and then home to 1610.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my thought process.
Mm-hmm. I
Elixir,
see.
on the other hand, is a different story altogether. I never really expect, like, I tried purple elixirs. They're ass. They're
Yeah, they're not
so
great.
bad. They are horrendous. They're terrible. So I never really, it never came to my mind that I would be doing purple elixirs with. Must be fucking nice. Sorry for cursing.
Yeah. No, it's all good. And and here's me, right? This is me and my preference. For the most part, because I'm a streamer, it helps out and like being able to get into parties, host parties. But I think like for the not like a no person who's not streaming, if you're 1610 trying to get into Thaemine without a 35 set, with like unless you have friends who can bring you into the party, it's gonna be really hard to just get
Probably gonna
into
be impossible.
Pug. Yeah. So like if I were in your shoes, I'd keep my characters at 1600 and then, get enough resources and just go straight to 1620 on my characters. That's kind of like the route that I personally would go by myself. But just because, like, again, if I'm in your shoes, I'm probably not getting into Thaemine at 1610 with no elixirs and no gems. And like you said, purple elixirs are just such an annoying thing to deal with that, like, I'd rather just not deal with it at all. So at that point, I'm just like,
It's my
stick 1600. Don't worry about elixirs. Just get the gold. Don't even need to buy the extra boxes at the end of Volus, and then just go all the way to 1620 when I have the means to do it. That's personally what I do.
Okay. That's fair. Yeah, because if I get to 1620, then I can start doing the legendary elixirs and getting 40 set with legendary elixir. I don't know why, but feels a lot more doable than getting 35 with purple.
The legendary elixirs are so much better to do, and also the thing is, like, the game's been giving us a lot of free elixirs, like free legendary elixirs, so you can start banking those up. So by the time you get to 1620, you actually don't even need to do Voldus, and you can start using the legendary elixirs on your character and start getting those 35, 40 sets.
Right. Yeah, I think I have some, and then I can buy 5 more from the new the Maharaka event. I haven't bought those either, so that's I think.
And then the new island, Indigo Island, also gives legendary elixirs as well.
Yeah, that's 25.
Yeah.
I have something else. I can't remember what.
Yeah, Solar Ray, you can't bank them though. You have to be 1620 by the time to get them. I think you have, what's that box of 44?
There we go.
Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that's
so yeah,
20 more.
you're just bank up legendary elixirs. Go if you really like. Again, I also hate purple elixirs, so personally, I'd probably just straight shot 1600 to 1620 when I'm have the resources, and then just do the elixirs from there and do legendary elixirs from there.
Wait.
I think it's in the share rewards. I think on the last tab. Yeah, it's right there. But you need to be 1620 to get them. Yeah.
Bloody hell.
I personally say, like, if for me, for those this shop, right? I think the destruction stone pouches, the obliteration, the obliteration stone and the destruction stone or guardian stones are probably a bit too expensive for my case. But if you have enough, if you feel like you have enough to go around for all your characters, sure, go for it.
No, as you can see, I don't.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's just my feeling. I feel like the only things that are really worth at least buying on characters if you're like shorter on shards is probably like the leaps and the shards, but that's just me.
The shards, I buy them regardless. Didn't buy them on my Arcana because it's 3 million shards I have, and I'm not really planning.
I made
to
this for
push it to
Kati. What do you
1620
think?
At the
I'll watch it
moment.
in a second.
So I don't think I'm gonna need those shard patches anytime
Mm-hmm.
soon, at least on that character. And this one, I've already bought them. So,
Yeah. I mean, again, if you find yourself with extras, sure. Like, if you find yourself with extra material, like extra of these coins, sure. Buy whatever you want. But if you're feeling like you're running it like kind of close every week, it might make sense to only buy shards and leaps. And if characters don't need shards, then just buy the leaps.
right. Is this bound to roster?
Yeah, that's not bound to
that's
roster. Oh, it is bound to roster. Nice. That is bound to roster. So yeah.
And more.
Yeah, so the game gives you a lot of free legendary elixirs these days. So
Yeah.
awesome. Anything else?
Is there anything else? I don't like playing these two, but should I still add them to my main?
Your main 6?
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, this is up to you. If you don't like them, there's no reason
No,
to
I
add
don't.
them.
I don't at all.
Yeah,
I
just
only ran them back when I had a player static who were pushing for newest raids whenever they came out. So I had them. I had these two for that.
yeah. And here's the thing, right? This is the same for me. And when I was thinking about this one time, but my friend was like, told me something that kind of changed my mind. For supports, a lot of people feel like, oh, I should have at least one support in my roster. And I think that is a good thing. If you like playing support and having one in your roster isn't a bad thing, it's a good thing. But the thing is, like, when you talk about support shortage, like, it doesn't really help to have a support that's in alt territory, like 1580, 1600,
Right.
whatever it might be. The real...
They're never gonna be my priority when I'm honing.
And like you said, you're actually sometimes having trouble finding with parties with these characters, right?
Yes. Yes.
Because it's the support shortage doesn't exist as much in the lower tiers. It's really when you start getting to 1620, 1630, that's when it starts being a problem. And unless you're holding a support up to those item levels, it actually doesn't help all that much with the support shortage. So if you don't like playing those characters, you're probably not going to hone them up to the main level anyways, and as a result, it's not going to be contributing to much. So if you don't like playing them, just don't play them.
When I honed these two to 1580, I was raging.
You're raging because you just didn't like them?
Just the gold
Yeah.
drop made me frustrated.
Yeah, no, I feel it. Yeah, if you don't like it, don't play it.
Yeah. I'm just gonna do that then.
Awesome. Anything else?
1600, get gems on these two, the necessary ones first.
Yep.
Keep working on Rested Chaos. And slowly get this one to 1620 and then work on these 4.
And instead of going for 1610, I'd recommend just 1600, and then if you want, straight shot it up to 1620.
So straight 20 one by one.
Yeah.
I think that's probably... So I probably can do parallel honing to 1600, but when I go for 1620, I'm probably going to have to change it to one by one.
Yeah, because 1620, 1600 to 1620 is just so expensive still. It's so expensive. Even 1600 to 1610 is expensive.
Oh, it definitely is. Trust me, I know. I just did it. On this shit breaker.
And that is express stuff, and that makes it even easier. Yeah. Awesome. Well, anything else?
No, that was it. Thank you so very much. I just needed some direction on... It was more like... So I knew what to do. I just needed the...
Like confirmation or like somebody else's opinions.
Organized the step 1, 2, 3. I needed to know which one is step 1, which one is 2, which one is 3. It's more along that line.
Yeah. For sure. I'm glad I was able to help. And again, that's just in my mind what step 1, 2, and 3 is. If you at the end of the day feel like you want to switch the steps, feel free.
No, I think it makes the most sense, and that's probably going to be the most efficient way of going about my roster. So I do like that plan.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for redeeming the roster review. I had a really good time chatting with you and kind of going through your characters. And yeah,
Thank you so very much, man. I was really hyped for it. Love your
yeah.
streams, by the way. So it's great.
Thank you,
I
thank
first
you.
found you from your YouTube. It was the other way around.
Oh, really? That's interesting. It's definitely not as many people have done that, but I appreciate you hanging out and like watching the streams. You know, love seeing you here, and I'll be here. I'll continue to be here. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in chat. Chat will help out. I'll help out, whatever it may be.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so very much, man.
All right, you're welcome. Goodbye, goodbye.
Take it.